House comes to questions for oral answer. Question number 1 in the name of Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. Does he stand by all of his and his Minister's statements in relation to housing?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, yes, I do stand by my statements. In terms of my Minister's statements, yes, but I'd need to see the full context in which they were made.
Well reported.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Does he stand by his statement that we are building 40 houses every working day in Auckland, given that under his government only 23 homes have been consented in Auckland per working day on average, compared to 35 under the previous Labor government?
Order. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, I stand by my statement.
Order. Andrew Little, supplementary question.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, point of order.
That's right. I seek leave to table a document prepared by the Parliamentary Library that sets out the building consents issued under the previous Labor government and the present government that shows the very figures I have just quoted in my previous question.
Leave is sought to table that particular information. There is objection. Order. I've put the leave. Leave has been denied. Andrew Little, supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'll move on. Does he stand by his statement that all roads lead back to supply? If so, why have the policies that his government has implemented over the last 8 years failed to deliver an adequate supply?
The Right Honourable Prime
Mr.
Minister.
Speaker, broadly, yes, I think that's right. They're all roads do lead to supply. If you have a look at the demand side things that have been applied, you wouldn't say they've had a massive impact. I mean, of course, interest rates could do, but they've been falling under a national-led government and supporting. But, Mr. Speaker, the simple facts of life are that, we have a construction boom taking place now in Auckland. We have more people working construction in New Zealand, I think, than ever before, and more houses being built, and considerably more houses than the previous Labor government, who were a complete and utter failure in this area.
Supplementary.
Order. Order. Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
If it is all about supply, why is Housing Minister Nick Smith going around saying that plummeting Māori and Pacifica home ownership levels are the fault of poor education?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, well, as is always the case with an Andrew Little question, one needs to check the fine print. But the point the Minister was making, because I actually happen to have in front of me his exact quote if the member wants me to embarrass him and read it back to him. But the simple facts of life are, Mr. Speaker, that the Minister was making the point that there is a correlation between income and people's capacity to own a house. He was simply making the point that Māori and Pacific, by definition at the moment, have a lower level of income.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
If it is all about supply, why are 4 of New Zealand's major banks banning loans to offshore speculators, while Housing Minister Nick Smith says the impact of offshore speculators is deadly squat?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, member would have to ask the banks their motivations. I simply don't know, but I stand by the view, given both the most accurate information we have is not whether someone's name is Chinese in the phone book, but whether they fit the criteria actually under the LINS information. Mr. Speaker, certainly talking to the banks myself, I haven't ever picked up from them that they consider this to be a terribly significant issue, Mr. Speaker. But interestingly enough, the member seems to be telling the House this afternoon that it's not about supply when it comes to housing, and yet the only 2 things they've announced in relation to housing are that they want to build a lot of houses, who knows where and how, and that they adopt the national government's policy of metropolitan urban limits.
It's a very long answer. Supplementary question. Order. Andrew Little, supplementary question.
If it is all about supply and the homes are not there, does he now accept that his housing policy has failed and the buck stops with him?
Mr. Speaker,
the Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I stand by the view that the government has a comprehensive plan when it comes to housing, and that plan's working. And that's why we're now building 40 houses a day, and under the previous government we're building 10. That's why there are vastly increased numbers of consents for new houses in Auckland, why the government's taken the steps it has.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Andrew Little.
Does he stand by his statement blaming falling home ownership on people buying houses later, getting married later, having children later, given home ownership fell for every age cohort from 20 to 85 in the last census?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Yes, and unlike the member, I don't just make things up because, Mr. Speaker, let's go to in the interests of a informed debate, let's not worry about the advice I get. Let's go to the 2008 advice from Stats New Zealand presented to the previous Labor government when they go on to talk about possible causes around reducing home ownership include increasing participation in alternative forms of long-term investment, high levels of student debt, higher house prices relative to income, and people forming families later in life. And Mr. Speaker...
Order. I apologise to the Prime Minister, but there's little point in carrying on with the Barrett. It's coming from my left.
Supplementary.
Order. Andrew Little, supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, will he listen when I tell him it's not too late? Adopt Labor's policies to shut out the foreign speculators, remove Auckland's growth limit and build affordable homes for families to buy so that once again we can restore the Kiwi dream of home ownership.
Well, Mr. Speaker...
Order.
Mr. Speaker,
the Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I will listen to the facts, which were home ownership rates fell under the previous Labor government. And, Mr. Speaker, going back to my answer to the last question, here's the incoming briefing to the previous Minister of Housing in 2008 under the Labor government, Mr. Speaker, and the advice here, Mr. Speaker, is that changes in lifestyle... Mr. Speaker, these people don't want to hear the answer because they know we're right. They know we're right. Well...
Order. Again, we're in the situation where Mr. Little's asked a question, but it appears that Mr. Little's colleagues aren't that interested in the answer. Order. Is this a point of order? Point of order, the Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, I seek leave, Mr. Speaker, to table the briefing to the incoming Minister of Housing that quite clearly points out that changes in lifestyle...
Order. That information's already been put on the net and is available to all members. Question. Order. I don't need reminding about the term of this government. Question number 2.